Hello everybody. So this video is entitled Hims Squeeze. The peptides are here because we are squeezing on the stock. The shorts need to cover because the peptides may be coming earlier than most think. And the stock was actually up 17% in a single day. For the record, I want to say this stock had no business dropping back down to like $18 during the macro madness of the Strait of Hormuz. Absolutely no business, in my opinion, getting down to that level. But so are the markets. The markets want to shake you out in the 2020s. That's the way it is. Anyways, the stock is up 17% because of regulatory clarity coming for peptides over meetings to take place in the next 2 months. And why is that such a big deal? Because all of these peptides will be discussed and will likely get a framework under which circumstance they can be prescribed, yes, no, how they should be made, safety evidence. The FDA is addressing the issues, moving away from a blanket ban, just like the former administration had done for crypto. If you follow crypto, you know crypto had a blanket ban. Anything but Bitcoin is banned. Same thing they did for a lot of drugs, and that is changing with peptides. Of course, peptides are a revolution, and it's a revolution that was mostly started in the US, mostly started in San Francisco, actually. But you know, a lot of places, especially in Asia, for example, have gotten better at peptides. The Chinese have taken over the sector, taken over the space with gray market and black market websites. Well, this move is bringing it back to the US, and Hims is positioned because when Hims was compounding GLP-1 peptides, you may remember that era, right? The 2025 era. Turns out to compound their peptides, they needed a peptide facility. They bought the peptide manufacturing facility of a company called CS Bio. It's a company in San Francisco, or in the Bay Area. They're right next to the Hims headquarters, actually, like not far at all. And you can see people who love peptides, people who know peptide. So from my understanding, they bought the manufacturing facility, which is that building. CS Bio is a different company. It's a maker of equipment of peptide, and they had their own manufacturing facility to manufacture peptides. Hims bought that, and Hims bought the equipment. And by the way, CS Bio, I think, was founded at something like 92. So Hims is in Peptide Central. Hims is in San Francisco, which is Peptide Central. They bought that state-of-the-art facility, and you can see the pictures from the announcement. This is exactly it. This is exactly the facility that they got. So what does that mean? That means Hims, of course, has peptide manufacturing expertise. They have such peptide manufacturing expertise that when they released their oral GLP-1, you may remember when the stock dropped, the market interpreted that as an awful thing. I interpreted that as they have an expertise almost similar to that of Novo. Now, it turns out they partnered with Novo now, and they sell all of the legit scripts now from Novo, so that's good. We're not at a war with Novo anymore. But here's the thing. All of these peptides, you know, many of them are naturally occurring compound. Peptides are naturally occurring. They're chains of amino acid. They happen to not be that hard to manufacture, which is why they were able to manufacture compounded GLP-1 peptides. You know, the only thing with GLP-1 peptides is that they needed slight modifications to last longer in the stomach. But anyways, that's not the point I'm trying to say. It's like many of these, it's not like there's a patent. Right, BPFC 157, it's not like they're a patent or anything. They're naturally occurring compounds in the body. And of course, the FDA is going to study and is going to establish normal practice for peptide. And once that's established, Hims is likely going to start selling them and prescribing them. This is Pat Carroll, Dr. Pat Carroll, the Chief Medical Officer of Hims, talking about how they believe this is a big deal for longevity and wellness, and it's going to be a big deal to move these treatments away from the gray market and the black market and to move them into more trusted channel. And of course, the bet I'm making is that everyone knows Hims now. I mean, they've been in the landscape of advertising for almost 10 years, something like that. Everyone knows Hims now. And my guess is that they will be seen as legitimate when they launch their own peptides. They will be seen as a legitimate source, contrary to shady lab-only websites operated out of China. I think they'll be seen as legitimate and they'll sell a lot of peptides. And again, the CMO of Hims says that the team believes that peptide therapies hold meaningful potential for Americans to live healthier lives. And they're actively exploring how to expand access aligned with FDA guidelines. Hims is not going at war with the FDA anymore. Well, if you think they ever did, but I don't necessarily think they did. I think the FDA went at war against Hims. Hims is not doing that. They strongly believe in a comprehensive standard for longevity care that spans new treatments, labs, and hormonal health. Because the peptides, there's a few things they can be used for, but of course peptides are very big in the longevity space. They're also big in the recovery space, especially BPC 157, injuries, getting back up after you have a surgery, that sort of stuff. They're obviously big in weight loss. They are big in muscle and low body mass, low fat percentage, low body fat percentage. They're very big in this space. They're big on skin health as well, hair health. There's a lot of areas where peptides are very, very big, and peptides, of course, are for the most case not patented. And as you know on this channel, I believe one of the main reasons why Novo didn't go in a court of law against Hims is because Hims would have challenged, can you patent a GLP-1, which is a naturally occurring thing in the stomach, right? It's kind of like the same thing, like can you patent a color and prevent somebody else to use that color just because you make a little tweak on the color? Can you do that, right? And they didn't want to go at it, right? They didn't want to go at it, and it would have lasted years, and so that's a very good thing they didn't. I think it's better to partner with Novo. I think it's better to partner with Pharma. I think Hims has not hurt its odds of getting a Lilly partnership at some point because, they never messed with Lilly. So I see a lot of good things about Hims. I think removing them from a black market also proves that the demand is already here. The demand from peptides is already here. What this is going to do, what this new policy is going to do, is simply Americans who are buying these peptides from these quote-unquote shady websites. And again, in the peptide community, it's all about, they have the test, it's sharing the test. I know a reliable peptide guy. I know a peptide guy that is reliable, and they share the websites, and they have them tested separate. The problem is the trust with peptides. I think Hims is going to solve that trust problem because Hims is trusted. Hims is on TV. Hims makes $20 million commercial for the Super Bowl. So I think in the mind of the average person, Hims is going to be trusted to manufacture these. And Hims is especially well positioned. And I think in the Hims community, I'm kind of the only one to talk about this, or not a lot of people talk about this. But, their Tribe acquisition and that other acquisition they made in Boston, I think is a big deal because they're working on a painless needle. So imagine peptides, many peptides are injected. Right, not collagen peptides, for example, but if you take most other peptides, they are injected. So if these peptides are not going to take a pill form, if they're going to take an injection form, I foresee Hims potentially using their painless tech that they acquired for their needle tech and come up with like a little pad to inject a peptide. They could innovate in the field of injectables. Like they could innovate in the field of injectables with that device that they got. To me, it's a very innovative company. Hims is a very innovative company, and they have expertise in this because I was already impressed in the GLP-1 compounded GLP-1 phase. I was already impressed that they were able to come up with their own pen, their own injector pen. So they have expertise in this. I think they are so well positioned to make a lot of money from this, and we know the CEO is looking at peptides as the next avenue. CEO said next year will be dismissed as just a peptide company, and I think next year the bears will dismiss Hims as just a peptides company until maybe 2028, where they're going to be dismissed as just a cancer screening company or something like that. This is my vision for this stock. I love this stock. I love to own this stock. I think this stock is making a difference for its customers and also for shareholders. So, of course, that's always welcome. Anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful, wonderful day.